Life, the Final Frontier. No, I'm going to see Smashing Pumpkins and James Diction at Hollywood Bowl in November, and Harry Styles at Hollywood Bowl in November. So I'm doing both of those. I love
Wow.
Hollywood Bowl, and I haven't been to Hollywood Bowl since 3 years ago when I saw Diana Ross.
Wow.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
The ultimate diva queen. We
Oh,
love her.
she did all the costume changes that you needed, and she had her whole
Well, you'd
family
be
there.
yeah, well, you would be disappointed if you went to see Diana Ross and she didn't change her
She
costume.
changed her costumes. I'm like, hello, she did, and she sang her songs. No, I say that only because I know when you get older, it's just a little harder, and you sing. And a lot of these do the whole like sing it with me, and you're like, okay, half the song, the audience is doing your job for you. No,
Right.
she sang most of her songs.
That's so funny you say that because I was watching David Letterman show. My next guest needs no introduction.
Oh, I
His
love that show.
one-on-one
I love
interviews
that
that he does.
show. I love that show.
He did an interview with Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas. And she said when she did her first tour at 14 or 15, anyway, she was always getting sick because her immune system was kind of low and distress and God, can you imagine touring? It would be exhausting.
Yeah.
So she had said, the question was, how do you feel when your audience sings, with you? They like know the words to your songs. And she's like, well, actually, when I was on tour, it was very helpful because I would lose my voice a lot. So they would just start taking over and they didn't know. I wasn't really singing, because she had problems with her voice. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Cher, when I went and saw Cher, the second Farewell tour, it's a big joke. She had so many farewell tours. That bitch didn't sing. She said that she basically was like, start a song, bang, bang, and all of a sudden it was costume changes, dancers, backup singers. It's like she sang 1/5 of each of her songs. I was like laughing. It's still Cher. Had a great time.
It's still Cher.
She did montages of her and Sunny and all this stuff. I'm like, you didn't sing that much, girl. That's why you could do this show. I admire her, but I was like, you go, girl, you do that. But I got your number. When I went to Bette Midler and when I saw Barbara Streisand and they sang. They sang their songs, top to bottom. And I was like, okay. In their 60s and 70s. Like, that's not easy. Shirley Bassey, who's in the 80s, when she was singing Goldfinger and held that note at the end, I was like, thank you. I can't hold that note at 50. So I'm like, you hold that at 85. She held that note. She's like, let me show all you young bitches how this is done. And she would hold those notes and have her elaborate costume, the wings and everything. I was like, that's what I want to see when I go to a concert. So.
We forget that the voice is a muscle.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it has to be, it fatigues. It has to be worked, right? And maintained.
I had a talk with her name is Shelly Ray Speck. She is a great singer-songwriter, new song out, and a vocal coach. And we did an interview. It's coming out this week, the interview, but we did an interview last week. We talked about that because, I also do singing and stuff, but I'm also a host. And how I teach my mentees that you have to actually exercise your voice too when you're hosting for long periods of time or speaking. When you speak, you're speaking longer than 2 hours or doing these classes like we used to do all the time. That's how we know each other. I saw these classes that teachers would. You have to have your tea nearby, lots of honey, things that can lubricate your throat sometimes that keep you going. The room has to be a certain temperature sometimes, like too cold, because then your voice freezes up, your box freezes up. But people don't realize when it comes to teachers, speakers, hosts, that we have to also exercise our voice. When I came on, I was like, I do all that stuff. You gotta go. You say "si so soon." I do all the stuff to open.
Wow, I'm very impressed. You know what I do? I roll and I sit down. I fix the screen a little bit. I sip my coffee and wait for you to come on.
But professionally, I'm talking a long time, and I've had sore throats,
right?
Because of it.
Right.
I've had laryngitis. So I don't like that feeling. I can't talk. It will silence me. No. I gotta talk, and it's no. Because I remember the longest I've done was 4 hours and 17 minutes of straight talking, no break.
Why would you
And
do that?
I had 4 shows in a row, and it was the way it was the way it was set up. It was just the way on
Was
radio.
this out of your control, or did you
Yes,
have
it's
control?
out of my control.
Okay.
Well, everything's my. I could have said no, I'm not doing it. But I mean, I did it. I mean, it was like
Right. No, I meant scheduling wise, though. You
yeah,
didn't do
yeah, it
that
was
to
out of
your.
my control. It was. There's some things like there's some events that just it's just you talking for 4.5 hours. There's
Yeah.
I had these shows at AfterBuzz TV that I assigned to do, and I didn't realize it was going to really be what it was, and what it
Yes.
was, and my voice was dead at the end of the night. I couldn't talk, and
Yeah.
that's my first show. I got to learn how to do this. I usually don't do that, but on radio, I had a radio show. We would talk for 2-3 hours in the morning. That's just normal. But I was always drinking coffee and tea. I was always
Right.
kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but I didn't. But I didn't.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
You know, I must say I'm admiring your part. What you got going on today, right?
This is leftover hair from the festival. I've been in extreme pain the last day and a half, as all of us have been because we're old. So thank you. I totally appreciate it. I totally appreciate
James, you know that they have over-the-counter medicine for those aches and pains that us folk.
Well, they also have other things too then over the counter, over
Now, are we
certain
talking
counters.
like libation pain, or are we talking like muscle aches and pains?
Muscle. I didn't drink.
Oh, okay.
So I went to a freestyle concert on Saturday at the Queen Mary. It was the 20th anniversary, and it was about 30 acts.
Wow.
It started at noon, and we left at 9:30. It was still going.
Wow.
We left
Nice.
at 9:30 because we couldn't stand any longer. So they had no chairs, no benches. This is all for old folks. There was no one under 45 there, and it was no chairs, no benches. You couldn't bring a blanket or anything on the grass. So it was warm too. So I brought
right. It was very warm.
It was very warm. So I brought a sweatshirt just in case. But then you didn't want to sit on the ground because it was so gross. People were spilling their beers and drinks everywhere. So we stood and danced. I danced and out danced with all the ladies and all that stuff. And,
of course you were.
You know me. I was cute. That. And then, but all of our feet were swollen. All of our backs were hurting.
Isn't it crazy though? It's so crazy. This is going to sound crazy. When I go and play a round of golf, I'm in a cart. Okay. So I'm driving around the golf course and I casually get out of the golf cart when it's my turn to address my ball. I swing my I get back into the golf cart and I'm sipping on a beer, perhaps actually no more beer, probably like, a spiked seltzer, very refreshing drink, by the way, on the golf course.
I'm sure.
And by the end of the day, though, from just doing like the little bit of walking and all the up and down and stuff, my back aches like a son of a bitch. And thankfully, I have normal disc degeneration. Okay, now that doesn't sound right, but
yes.
Normal disc degeneration for a lady my age. And I have, I guess, these other issues that are not disc related that really hurt like my lower back. The good news is I can still play golf. The bad news is I have to take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen each day, 2 days before I golf, to be able now to get through a round of golf. And I'm only 53. So I envisioned myself retiring on a golf course somewhere, swinging my club. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen. My body might be rejecting the golf course. It's just going to show up at the country club and say, no. No. And then, of course, after the round of golf, James, I had to take 2 more 800 milligrams of ibuprofen for the following 2 days.
Yes.
Just to make sure that the pain is not so bad that I can't literally get out of bed.
Yeah.
How much do I love the game of golf?
I know you love golf. Actually, I know you love golf. I have a little gift from a send you out here with some golf stuff, but I know you love golf. I know you do.
Crazy.
So that's what's
So
crazy.
I feel you.
Yes.
I can imagine standing with you and dancing with you
Mhm.
for 4 or 5 hours and looking
Oh,
at you going, I have to go home.
we did. We had to leave because it was shuttles. You had to take shuttles there.
Oh,
We had to
yeah.
go use buses. There's
Yeah.
17,000 people there. Thank
Ooh.
God we left early because it was crowded and it was crazy anyway. But we got on the buses. But the thing that made me laugh was yesterday. I had to go pee. So first thing in the morning, I'll go pee. I went to stand up and I went, oh my goodness, it fell to the ground. And I
Yeah.
basically crawled to the bathroom. So, folks,
Yeah.
this is the behind the scenes you don't see of James. I had to crawl to the bathroom so I could sit on the toilet and pee.
Yes. Yeah.
My feet were like they're just like they said, no, James, we just no.
Yeah, we're done.
Like you said, no, we're not participating.
Yeah. You're being punished for
Being
having fun.
Yes. And then like my lower back was just like, oh,
Yeah.
you think you're Puerto Rican? Okay, you think you salsa all day long? Oh, okay, sure,
Yeah.
okay. You think it's 1985? Well, it's not, James. It's 2022.
Yeah.
So, and then my sister's like, "Oh my god!" We're all like laying in bed, we're laughing, calling it. It
Right.
was my brother's birthday yesterday, so we're laughing.
Oh, happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, he turned 50.
Oh,
So,
his younger
my
brother.
younger brother. So it's funny. So I go, I had old jokes for you, but I can't even do it today because I feel like the oldest person on earth. He started laughing. I was getting presents, and I had a whole thing of old jokes. I'm like, I just screw it. I'm old.
Yeah.
There you go. We laughed
Yeah.
on that. And so, but yeah, it's when we were younger, Miss Melissa,
Yes.
us is we were younger.
Yes.
It's amazing what we can endure. Things like
Well,
that.
it's
Like
amazing.
golf,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing too because um, youth is a gift wasted on the young.
It is. No, it totally is.
And I remember like partying,
Oh,
James,
yeah.
2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Getting up the next morning and going to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just not function. I can't find. In fact, I'm such a boring person right now. 2 glasses of wine,
Okay.
or a vodka tonic, or a martini. That's it. That's where I draw my line. Because number 3 glass of wine for me, it's not pretty. And I'm not like drunk.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. It's just my head starts to ache, my tongue starts to swell, everything starts to get a little bit like sore,
Yeah.
And the vodka, that's a party drink for me. I love a nice vodka, but that does get me drunk. And I don't want, at 53, it's just not nice. It's not a good look, James, to not be able to control your mouth and, you just say things, and then the martini, right? That's a sipper all night. Like that's one sipping because I have no tolerance for alcohol anymore. When I was young, and I did some stupid things when I was young, but I could like have 3 drinks and be okay. I wouldn't drive. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not stupid, but I could still like, not feel my tongue swelling, not get the headache, not get the, the aches and pains that come the next day.
I back in when I used to was back in the day when we used to was
You used to was.
I used to was back in the day could party all night at a conference and then be up with right first thing in the morning, set up a classroom at 8:00.
Yes.
Those days it would never happen. I'd be fired. I'd just be like, my body would be like, no, James, not get up at 7:00 in the morning, get dressed to go to set up a classroom.
No.
And be there. And you're the class monitor, James, for that class. You gotta introduce the speaker. And I was ready. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Oh, now well, Melissa,
could you imagine us? What we really should do is have a YBAC reunion.
Oh my, we should totally.
And base it on like the 3 years from a certain period and invite all the attendees back
All those core people, yes.
and see what would happen. Because I know when my very first YBAC, I showed up on the scene. I was so excited. The energy was great. I got totally wasted the first night, James. And I had a crap convention because of it, because I was so hungover.
Yeah.
Right. And so the next ones you learn to pace yourself. Well, I had brought a colleague and a friend with me one year. Her first year was in Vegas. And I said to her, now look, you're going to have a great time. You're going to meet a bunch of people. It's going to be fantastic. Please pace yourself. Take it from one who has learned. Don't get plastered the first night because it will suck. Well, of course, that didn't happen.
Yes.
She missed the whole conference. So it was like, that's kind of the thing, it's like you have to learn to pace yourself.
Yes.
But wouldn't it be fun to watch all of us 50-somethings?
Oh my God.
A hotel.
I'm already picturing people that I know. I'm going, that person,
drunk.
that person. I'm curious. Yes. Because I know, because my first YBAC, I had heard about the YBAC previous year. They're like, oh, James, it was lit. But I didn't say lit back then. It was whatever word they used at the time. But I remember Nicholas was telling me, oh my God, it was crazy. Like somebody got arrested or somebody did this on somebody's car, whatever. All this stuff it was like, you always see these rumors, like, what's true now. It's like, I got excited. I'm like, and so James, what we do is we help out YBAC every year. And he was excited too. I was like, what's this YBAC? What does this mean? I don't know what's going on, because we were just starting out our own events. We just started the agribusiness conference, but it was like a couple times a year we help out. We don't do blue ribbon. We don't do blue ribbon, but I said we do YBAC, and we did the getaway sometimes that were the first year. Anyway, and I said, okay, well, I don't know what this means, but sure, I'll go. And my first one was Monterey. And I'm like, Monterey.
Fine.
And that's where we met. The first one was in Monterey. That's my
yes.
We met. And I was just like, Monterey, sleepy town. Like, I was whatever. Well, we found a way to have a good time. But see, Monterey wasn't that bad.
Right.
As when we got to Palm Springs and Vegas.
Yeah.
I was the one to Vegas was at the Rio. And I love the Rio.
Yes.
That's why I was like both things. But in Las Vegas, was sealed.
Yeah, Vegas was something else.
My lips are sealed.
I want to know. That's not fair. You have to share.
Off camera.
Off camera.
Off camera. I mean, like way over there. Way in the corner. Way over in the corner. Like, let's say, leave your house, go downstairs. I'll go over here. We'll talk about it over there right now.
I mean, when you're talking about after parties, at the insurance conference.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember Monterey. One of our sponsors, and who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, of course.
Although I'm sure he would love his name stated, but shall remain nameless. Brought an ice luge. So all of the folks that were there, and him included, he will know what I'm talking about.
I remember. Yes.
The management that was on property was so pissed. So pissed. The attorney had to manage that whole conference because we were so out of control.
Very out of control. Yes.
You think the property's probably thinking oh, it's insurance,
Right. Oh my goodness. What's what I was thinking?
How boring,
Right.
Oh, they're young. They're 20s, 30, late 20s, early 30 somethings.
A lot of them weren't married yet. Or somebody just gotten married. I remember a lot of people who are married now. I remember when they got married. I'm like, a lot of them. I won't say the names, but you know what I'm thinking about. Like, there's people I know. I'm like, they weren't married yet. They didn't have kids yet. Very few had kids yet. They all got kids afterwards. They all had kids a little late, or had kids towards the end.
Yes.
At that time, those first couple of conferences, everybody was free and having a good old time.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I
just remember one. Either it was Monterey or I think it was probably Monterey. We were playing quarters. My first time I ever played quarters, where flip quarter into a drink and drink the. I never. This is the games I never played before.
You had never played quarters before YBAC, really?
Yep.
Wow.
And I was that crazy. And trust me, I wasn't a saint coming into there. So I'm just saying that's kind of weird. I learned something. Everybody know I had lived some life.
So we didn't corrupt you, right? We didn't bring you over to the dark side.
No, I was already half corrupted when I was by the time I got there.
We played quarters so much in high school. Okay, just added myself, but
I love it.
There was somebody who would take the quarter, and for those who are listening, just kind of close your eyes and envision this. He would place the quarter at the top of his nose, and he would extend his chin out into the table area, and he would literally let it go, and the quarter rolls down his nose, right, hits the table, bounces into the cup. It was like one night he couldn't miss.
Oh
like people just left the table because they were so drunk and tired of drinking, because he was, but off the nose, he would roll it off of his nose.
So crazy. Yes. I've gotten those conferences. I've gotten to know people very intimately. I've made some great bonds.
Yes.
That's still
hello.
Yes. Example right there. I have some great friendships I've kept since then. Also, from that time period, we're talking nearly 20 years ago. Like this is like something like that's. But I was told. I had been told it's wild. Have a good time. And I'm like, and I was like, it's insurance. I seriously like. I mean, insurance in Monterey, like two things that just like don't sound like anything. It sounds like snooze fest. That's what I was like, can I drink during this conference? I'm making jokes about that. Oh no, I drank during the conference. That was another story, but it was for fun. But everybody was, and I remember it wasn't that big. It wasn't a huge conference.
It wasn't.
It got bigger later. It got bigger later. But it wasn't as big that year. I remember it was a nice size. It was manageable. And you guys were all nice. The committee was nice, and
that was my first year on the committee. Our friend Jeff and I flew up together. He had got me on the committee. Long story, but anyway, so we're on the plane, and he's starting to give me the lowdown on the committee. Like, this is this person, really cool. This is that person, really cool. Whatever. And I get there, and I swear, walk in, and all the girls. And at that time, we were girls. So though we were in our young 30s, we were still girls. They looked at me up and down. Nobody said hello. Nobody came up to shake my hand. Nothing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna hate it here.
I'm in high school. I'm in high school.
That night, it was like bonded like old friends. Like it just took a little alcohol apparently. But I was the new kid coming in, and they were like all checking me out. And it was like, is this serious? I thought this was supposed to be fun.
Yeah, well, it was fun.
And then it was.
Found out later. Because I've rarely met anybody at these conferences that were not nice at some point. I mean, everybody was like, because when I showed up, a lot of people were like, I remember Derek Ross tells the stories. We're friends to this day still. He tells the stories like, I just saw you, and you had this different kind of hair, and you were so bright, and like just like you were just bright. You were just like this guy who was just like, I wanted to know who you were. And people could tell me that they wanted to be like, here's Nick's kind of sidekick, but then I have my own kind of identity. And and so it was kind of, and I was very personable. So I didn't, thank God I wasn't like stuck to him all the time. I could go on my own and talk to people. Thank God I have that ability. But a lot of people tell me first met, it was like, you're just this bright, you're just this, like, who are you? Like, they wanted to know who I was. And that's how I got to meet people. Everybody was nice to me for the most part. I never really had anybody. There's really hasn't been anybody over the years that was mean to me there. I mean, other situations, but not at YBACs. Everybody came, I think, with the purpose of, let's have some fun. Yes, there was education. Make sure you say there was education and stuff there too. We had great teachers.
James, there was day programming.
Yes, there was day programming. And we had great teachers, actually. We always had great people.
We did.
Seriously, we did. We had great instructors. And I know I saw their work, and they were really good. And I'd be sitting in some of the classes. I'd learn something in some of the classes. But no, we had great. But it was afterwards that and I noticed that. And I will end that on this episode on that note. I want to tell you guys, and I showed her today, for some reason, which we'll take it, you have made our show last week, as we're filming this last week, one of the top 10 shows out of 50 shows I have on this network, and audio. So thank you so much. I mean, so please, listen to us while you're in the car, while you're on a plane, while you're waiting for a plane, while you're on the beach, whatever. Take us with you. We are audible. I swear I'm smart. I have degrees. I swear it. But no, we can listen to us when you anywhere, literally. Or if you're sitting here at your computer, you can turn us on and listen while you're doing some work. So thank you so much for that. I was very surprised and happy about that. Because we are on audio and video. But again,
Yes.
this is Coffee and Conversation, and I'm James.
And I'm Melissa.
And follow us everywhere. We're everywhere. So just come on there and listen. Take a listen or watch. Listen or watch. And we'll see you next time.